Hi, Deer Valley. So today we have our very first nutrition education question, and it's coming from Conrad at Mr. Martin's class at Mirage. And so thank you so much, Conrad, for writing in. And so your question was, how many parts of the plate should you eat a day? And so that's what we're going to take a look at. So what we see here is how much of each food group should I eat in a day? And the first thing you should keep in mind is that it really depends on how old you are and what gender you are. And so we're going to take a look at for ages 9 through 13, which is your age group, and we're going to lay it out for us. So our plate, you guys probably remember from class. So we have our fruit group, and that's what we're going to look at first. And for our fruit group, you are going to have 1.5 cups per day. That's the suggested amount. So let's stick up a couple examples of what 1.5 cups of fruit looks like. Okay, pretty easy, 1.5 cups. Okay, then we have our veggies. And for veggies, it's going to depend on if you're a boy or a girl. So girls, you guys have about 2 cups a day that you need, and boys, you need about 2.5 cups. So let's see what that looks like with some of our examples here. So we have some baby carrots, some corn, we have some black beans. Let me get that guy under there. Okay. Then we have some green beans and some mashed potatoes. Now, one thing you'll notice is that the black beans is kind of crossing over into the protein section, and that's purposeful because if you remember, beans and peas, that's the one veggie group that counts also as a protein, and that's pretty important to remember. So if you were following 2 cups, you'd use 4 of the items, and 2.5 cups you can see is all 5 of the items. So next we have protein, and for protein, you only need, and boy or girl, about 5 ounces. So got some chicken nuggets, some peanuts, and some scrambled eggs. Okay, and so remember that these guys can count as either, so if you wanted to replace one of these items with some black beans, that would count. Okay, next we have the dairy group. So in the dairy group, you have 3 cups a day. That is the suggested amount. And so when you're taking in something that's more of a liquid, that's an easy one because you can just drink a cup of it or eat a cup of it. But if it's like hard cheese, that's about 1.5 ounces is going to be the equivalent of 1 cup. So hard cheese. So next we have the grains, and the grains take up quite a bit of space on here. So for grains, if you're a girl, you need about 5 ounces a day, and if you're a boy, you need about 6 ounces. So to give you an example of what that looks like, this one slice of bread is 1 ounce. This muffin is 1 ounce. This hot dog bun is 1 ounce. This bagel is 1 ounce. And 1/2 cup of cheddar cheese crackers, the little fishies, they are also 1 ounce. Now, one thing to keep in mind with the grains is that not only do you need 5 or 6 ounces of grains in your day, you actually want to make sure at least half of the grains you take in are whole grains. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to switch out these cheddar cheese ones on the bagel, and I'm going to put this huge whole wheat waffle in here because he is 2 ounces. And so he takes up and is able to replace those other ones that are only 1 ounce. I'm actually going to put him over here, make a little bit more room. Okay, so he can replace, he's whole grain, and that makes at least half of the intake of grains for your day to be half whole grains. And the other thing I wanted to mention is with the dairy, so you could have 1.5 ounces of a hard cheese, but I know a lot of you guys like those string cheeses, and so 1 whole string cheese that you would get is considered to be 2 ounces, but because of the type of cheese it is, you can eat that instead. Okay, so in order to answer your question, Conrad, how much of each food group should you eat in a day? You should be eating 1.5 cups of fruit. You should be eating 2.5 cups of vegetables, 5 ounces of protein. Remember, with your protein, that doesn't just mean meat. So with your protein, you can have fish and you can have nuts and seeds and beans, and those are all different types of protein. And then with your dairy, you want about 3 cups a day. And then with your grains, you want to be eating about 5 or 6 ounces, depending if you're a girl or boy. And you want to split that in half with whole grains to make sure that you are taking in as many whole grains as you possibly can. So hopefully that answers your question, Conrad. And thank you again so much for asking. Have a good day.